YouTube, what's good YouTube? It's your boy King back in this thing, man. And if you guys are new to the channel, definitely be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I greatly appreciate all your support. And a special thank you to everyone who watches these videos all the way through, leaves a positive comment, likes, shares these videos, donates, keeps me updated, is a channel member or a channel supporter. You guys are the bomb.com, and I hope each and every single one of you guys are having a great day. And so here we have it. Jonathan Turley stating, I believe Trump verdict will be reversed in state or federal systems. So at the time of this recording, Trump has now just been convicted on all 34 charges? Convicted on all charges. I believe it's like 34 charges or something like that. But we knew it was corrupt. We already knew it was corrupt, and we knew that he was set up. So there was that right there. And he's got these corrupt judges. And he even called them out. Same thing with Judge Engoron, and now here we have Judge Merchan. So that's that, guys. So let's get right into the video, and I will be giving my thoughts and commentary at the end of the video.
All right, Judge, I want to bring in Professor Jonathan Turley, who has been in the courtroom today. So you're fresh out of there. Can you give us any of the flavor? Because when we thought that the court was going to break for the day, it seems like President Trump and his team seemed relaxed, that he was smiling. Maybe they thought, okay, this jury is still struggling. They're going to leave tonight not having made a decision. Then we get word that verdict is coming in. What can you tell us about the mood inside the courthouse?
It was one of the most bizarre moments I've had in a courtroom, and I was just observing. The judge had just said that the jury could not reach a decision and that we would be dismissed for the day. Some reporters actually gathered their stuff and was starting to leave. And then the judge came and basically said, my mistake, we just got a note saying there's a verdict. Throughout this time, you could feel the building pressure in that courtroom. The one person that didn't seem to register it was the former president. He had been chatting with counsel. He didn't show any emotion at all as this mantra of guilty verdicts was read. And there was a great, I think that this is one of those things that is really embodies the entire Trump era. There were people who clearly were thrilled by the result, and there were people that will be very sad by it. I was saddened to watch it. I disagree with this verdict. I think, as I've said before, that this case was legally unfounded. When they were reading those guilty verdicts, the one thing that we didn't know is really what he was found guilty of. Because if you remember, the judge allowed the jury to find guilt on any one of 3 secondary crimes. We weren't told whether the jury found any one of those crimes, whether they found all 3 of those crimes. I'm not too sure we will know that. That's one of the many issues that I think presents reversible problems in this case. So what I would say is that this is a historic moment. We all have to take a breath. But for those upset by this verdict, remember this remains a country committed to the...
All right, folks, if you are...
All right, here we go.
Rule of law. And this is going to go up on appeal. I think it's going to be reversed in the state or federal systems. But it's moments like this when you're on the other side, when you disagree with a verdict, that you have to take a leap of faith in the rule of law. It's what defines us. Many people feel that this case really embodied the antithesis of that. But as a country as a whole, we have a system in place to review this. For Donald Trump, that's not going to happen before the election in all likelihood. But let's keep in mind that this is not the only court, it's just the first one.
Well, and there have also been jury trials and judges and decisions that have been made that have already been tough for the former president in other contexts too, in the business context, in another personal case involving E. Jean Carroll. I mean, there are other decisions that have been made against him that have been very difficult. They've been in New York. What do you think that portends or does not with these other cases we have pending? Georgia, it doesn't look like it's going to get to trial before we get to November. You've got the 2 federal cases. We're waiting for the Supreme Court decision decision on immunity, which could come as early as next Thursday. We get opinions then again. What will that case mean to all of these things that are pending or have already been decided? When it comes to this question, we heard the arguments there at the Supreme Court. There were two extremes. Anything and everything the president does, you can't question any of it. There must be full immunity from any kind of criminal activity. Two, there's nothing. There's no protection from him. We know the justices are going to land, we think, somewhere in between, not go with those extremes. But how critical now is that decision as we wait for that?
Well, it's very critical, both in terms of the law and the timing. The court did seem to reject the extremes on both sides. They didn't like the extremes of the Trump team in terms of the sweeping immunity, but they also didn't like the Court of Appeals approach. They felt that it gave too little recognition of the needs of the office. So they could end up sending this back for further evidence and for determinations by the trial court. It seems unlikely that the judge will be able to get that done before the election. Florida does not appear to be heading towards a trial before the election.
And that's the federal Mar-a-Lago documents
case.
Yes,
and as someone like Andy and others who have dealt with classified trials, that is not strange. The Florida schedule is, if anything, moving at a fairly good clip. It often takes years for these cases to get put together when you have this level of classification. The important thing about this case, you pointed out before, remains the optics. New York is being viewed by many as this vortex that won't let Trump out, that they keep on hitting him. And this is a major win for his critics. But the question is whether it's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory, because for many citizens, of all of the cases, this one embodied the weaponization of the legal system. And so the result won't come as a surprise. For some, adding the title of a convicted felon could affect their votes. For others, it could affect it the other way. For others, they are repelled by what they see out of New York. I must tell you, the reason I was sad in there was not for the former president. It was for the New York legal system. I've written, as many of us have, that this is a deeply flawed case. It's wrong. And this is a great legal system. I'm not a New York bar member. I'm out of D.C. But I have huge amount of respect for this system. It has helped define the law in this country. Legal history was made here on this block. I'm looking at two courthouses where legendary cases were heard and handed down. It's part of our DNA as lawyers. So for many of us, it is a sad moment because we were hoping this jury might redeem a bit of that integrity. It did not. I'm not blaming the jurors. They got instructions that made conviction very likely here. I was one, as opposed to my good friend Andy here, who believed he'd get a verdict today and that it would be a conviction. I was one holding out for a possible hung jury because I believe this jury would see through this. But I'm not too sure you can blame them when you look at the instructions. When you allow a jury to potentially go 4-4-4 and disagree on what happened as to what crime was being concealed here, it makes it pretty hard to acquit.
Jonathan, I want to ask you too a little bit about the flavor inside, because you commented yesterday that there were, I guess it was 2 days ago during the summations, I was in for the defense in the morning, you were there for the prosecution in the afternoon, that you said when it looked like the prosecutor was mocking Trump or landing points that were bad for the defense or bad for Trump, that the media in the room was reacting to that.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that it wasn't exactly neutral.
No, he knew his audience. The media in the room was laughing, and
we're supposed to be there just covering this as neutral arbiters of the news.
I was surprised. You know, these are journalists I hold to a higher regard than myself because I'm just a commenter. I'm just someone who gives opinion. But no, every one of those digs landed with that audience. And look, we all expected that there would be this human wave, not just of people here on the streets in Manhattan, but among a lot of the journalists. I think that with time, they will see the costs of all of this. What happened in that room comes at a cost. It comes at a cost of the rule of law. But the atmosphere in the room at the end, I must say, was solemn and it was riveting. No one moved. Now, it was funny because they really ramped up security right before the verdict came in. And the security said, nobody move, nobody stand. And there was a bit of a chuckle because no one was moving. Everyone was
Nobody's
frozen.
going anywhere when that verdict is coming
anywhere. The person that seemed the calmest was Trump. I mean, he continued to talk with his counsel. This did not seem to surprise him.
If you want to learn how to edit really well from professional
in the least. And I think that's probably a reaction of a lot of people. You basically got out of this trial what you thought you would get. For people that view this as a political trial, it is that on steroids. For those who believe this is long-delayed justice, this is exactly what they hope for. But that final verdict, of course, will come in November.
So you are a very experienced defense attorney, to the point where if I get in trouble, you're my call. I want you to know from the jailhouse, it's going to be to Jonathan Turley. Please take my call. So you know what it's like to be disappointed, to be on the losing end of a verdict. But President Trump came out today, and this really fed into what his supporters love about him. We are going to keep fighting. We know that's a long process. You talked about questions about the New York legal system and how you feel this may reflect this trial court decision. On that, what is your confidence in the appellate division or the appellate process here in New York?
This case is a little different because, quite frankly, I think the level of reversible error here really is quite considerable. It runs the waterfront of procedural to constitutional problems, including federal constitutional violations. I don't even see how you can meet the unanimity requirement in the way that this thing was instructed. Yeah, they were unanimous that some crime was being committed on that secondary crime, but it's apparently between the jurors and God as to what that crime was, unless there's going to be some release of a jury form. We haven't seen that jury form, so we don't know.
And no indication when you were inside that we would, or that there was a special verdict form?
No, and so we were all hoping that there might be a form that might bring clarity on that issue. But no, I think that in the end, you're going to have a reversal. I'm fairly confident of that. Now, in the New York appellate system, they have ruled for Trump. There are very good lawyers in the New York system and credible people who want this system to work the way it's designed. I got to tell you, I am eternally an optimist. I was an optimist about a hung jury, and I'm an optimist now about the appellate judges. I think at some point, people will step forward and say, enough. You know, hating this man is not enough. To forget the lack of the evidence. And once again, I do not blame this jury. They were given instructions that made it very easy to convict. And some of them might not have seen a real option not to, given how low these standards seem.
Okay, Jonathan Turley.
Click here. So, there you have it. Really just disappointing stuff. I mean, like, this is to be expected, though. You know, they're waging war. This is what comes with court. It's you know, and Trump is a smart guy. I definitely believe that he'll go for the appeal with this whole thing. And I know. Oh my goodness, I know Dems had they had a whole fiesta seeing that one. They absolutely went nuts seeing that. That's exactly what they want. But could you? It still boggles my mind how somebody could sit here and say, yes, I want another 4 years of Biden. That is like mind-boggling to me. Like, you've got to be kidding me. They are just going so hard to take Trump out. It's just insane. And it really, you know, sometimes I think about the future of this country, man. I'm like, Jesus, I'm only 24. That is insane. But yeah. It's even crazier with my generation, but I would say, you know, but that could, you know, that's debatable. But yeah, anywho, as far as with everything Trump goes, you know, definitely prayers out to President Trump. Definitely admire his resilience with all this stuff. It definitely tedious stuff that he's dealing with, but I definitely think he'll go for the appeal. I definitely think that, you know, maybe it's just the optimist in me, but I do think somehow, some way, God willing, he can come out on top of this. You know, again, it could just be the optimist in me, but hopefully, even though hope is not a strategy. But hopefully, I do hope that, you know, he definitely comes out on top of this whole thing. So those are my thoughts, guys. Definitely comment down below what you guys think. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys, all your support. And I will be keeping you guys updated with everything that's going on. So definitely make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys are new here. And shout out to the King Squad. And yeah, shout out to the channel members. Thank you to each and every single one of you guys who like this video, left a positive comment, and shares these videos. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Peace.